Hey guys, and what up guys? So today I'm going to be helping you guys out with getting attuned with World of Warcraft Vanilla or Classic, the base game. Or if you know Project Ascension, all the raids that are going to be in Project Ascension up until BC drops. So from MC, Onyxia, ZG, BlackWing Lair, AQ40 or Ahn'Qiraj, and Naxxramas. So to begin with, it's going to be MC, so on Molten Core. This Molten Core was the first raid out in Vanilla, and to be honest, it's probably the most well known, but also pretty much the most boring raid from Vanilla content. But anyway, let's dive in. Now, MC is situated in Blackrock Mountain in between Searing Gorge and Burning Steppes. It's quite a big central lore of World of Warcraft, and it's got a lot of history. But MC is situated right at the bottom. So as you can see on the screen, I'm just talking to the guy that hands out the quests. So to get attuned with MC, you have to go into the Molten Core, the actual. You have to go into Blackrock Mountain, and you see once you walk in through the little bit of a tunnel, you see this big central rock held up by chains. So get on a chain, run down there, go in and all the way down to the bottom. Now, further on in the video, you're going to see me looking around on the big rock near the summoning stone for MC. Now you've got to go right down to the bottom. So it's quite a long walk. You can jump off, a lot of people do, especially when you're just pugging it, or when you've got the gear and you're just doing it for the gold or sort of gold, essentially just gold. That's all you really do the raids for now. And the way you do it, the way you get attuned with MC is you go down to the bottom and you accept the quest that the guy gives you. I can't exactly remember his name, but he's an elf. He's in the little tunnel just outside the entrance of Blackrock Depths, which is supposed to be a raid, but it turned out just to be a dungeon. And you get the quest and it says get a piece of the core. And now, to get the core, you have to go essentially all the way through Blackrock Depths. It's not an easy dungeon, it's just very long. It's kind of tricky if you haven't got decent dungeon gear from previous dungeons, but if you're confident enough and you've got a decent team, you can easily just pug it and you can just go
all
through.
That gives you a
really
quest
easy.
to send you back to Magistrate Solomon in the Lakeshire. Once you
it's
Solomon,
kind of easy.
ask you to go
So
and talk to him.
You have to go through and get a core fragment. Now, the core fragment is right at the entrance of Molten Core, so remember where you're going.
Give you another True Master's,
and it's generally really easy to get. It's not too tricky. So you have to get the core fragment and go back to the elf that's in the corridor, or the little entranceway. And once you complete that quest, you are now attuned for MC. It's pretty simple. It's reasonably easy, to be honest. So once you do that, you can then, instead of having to go, he gives you, once you complete the quest, you can actually click on him and he essentially sends you into Molten Core. Or you can do what I do, and I don't like talking to him because sometimes on Ascension the click for me sometimes lags out or doesn't work properly or whatever, like you have to keep clicking him a few times. I just jump through the window, and that's what most people do. It's the easy way to do it. Just once you see him, take a left and you just jump through that window. It's easy as pie. And that's how you get attuned with MC. It's reasonably simple, it's not too tricky. It takes about 2-3 hours really. I recommend doing it sort of 57, so you can guarantee you are attuned. And that's essentially it.
Now, onto Onyxia. Onyxia is the daughter of Deathwing and sister to Nefarian. Nefarian being the final boss in BlackWing Lair, you know him, but I'll get into that later. Onyxia is the brood mother for the Black Dragonflight, with her lair, where the raid takes place, in Dustwillow Marsh southwest of Theramore. Unlike most raid attunements, this is a very long quest chain that can take a month if you aren't too fussed about the raid. On the other hand, she does drop some tier 2 pieces, and the quest for her head is a good reward, so it's worth a go. To get attuned, there are 2 different quest chains depending on your faction, Horde or Alliance. As I'm Alliance, I'll begin with that quest chain. I know it better, but luckily, there is a link in the description box to Hamster Wars video for the Horde attunement questline. So go give that a watch if you're Horde, or if Alliance ganker. You know, casually an Alliance ganker. Now, if you're watching this bit, you should be an Alliance player or a Horde ganker. Hello! To begin, this chain, you should go to Morgan's Vigil in the southeastern part of Burning Steppes, talk to Helendrous Riverhorn and start the quest Dragon King Menace. This quest needs you to go around killing some black dragonkin in the Burning Steppes just outside Morgan's Vigil. Once you've handed that in, it's time to begin the True Master's chain. This chain follows itself back to the beginning. To start this, just travel to Lakeshire and Redbridge Mountains. Easy flight path to get pretty much all the time, if you haven't already got it. Then take Riverhorn's letter to Magistrate Solomon in the main building. Then take Solomon's plea to Bolvar Four Dragons Stormwind, next to the throne where baby Manduin is. Bolvar gives you a quest to talk to the one right next to him. What a lazy guy. Just wait, Bolvar. Wait till the Wrath Gate, then you'll get what you deserve for being lazy. You just have to talk to her and then go back to Bolvar to complete the quest in the chain. That requires you to go and talk to Ragged John, who's located north of the ruins of Thoracian in Burning Steppes, so essentially just north of Morgan's Vigil. When you return to Maxwell, he will give you a quest to find out what happened to Marshal Windsor. To complete this quest, you have to go into Blackrock Depths in Blackrock Mountain. I'm sure you know where it is by now. If not, it's at the bottom of the mountain. Get on the center rock and walk through the center to the bottom and go through the door on your right. Before the elf that gave you the Molten Core Attunement quest, I'm sure you know where it is. Once you enter the dungeon, carry on straight through into the big room and go instantly right. Marshal Windsor is in a prison cell at the back of the loop. Once you have completed the quest, you are told to, in Abandon Hope, to return to Marshal Maxwell, back at Morgan's Vigil. Once you have finished Abandon Hope, you'll have to return into Blackrock Depths or BRD to continue the chain. You need to kill early mobs such as Anvil Cartmen and Wardens until you get a drop called a Crumpled Up Note. This can be gained from outside the dungeon, so you don't have to wait to get a full 5-man group together. When you obtain a Crumpled Up Note, you'll need to talk to Marshal Windsor again, the guy inside Blackrock Depths, and he will give you a quest called a Shred of Hope. This requires you to kill 2 bosses from the dungeon, General Angerforge and Golem Lord Argylmach. Not sure if that's how you say it. The bosses will drop 2 items, so make sure you have bag space. Once you have the items, return to Marshal Windsor, the guy inside from Blackrock Depths. Don't go outside yet. For the next quest, Jailbreak. Jailbreak is an escort quest. Yes, our favourite. Totally. The quest involves Windsor getting some gear to help with this quest. It's best to clear the mobs from Marshal Windsor to the entrance as he can pull more than the group can handle. He's a dick. Once you are out of the dungeon, return to Marshal Maxwell and Morgan's Vigil to complete the quest. Marshal Maxwell will give you a quest at Morgan's Vigil called Stormwind Rendezvous. This means you need to travel to Stormwind to meet Windsor at the gates. You may have to talk to Squire Rowe at the gates if Windsor doesn't show on his own. You will then get a quest called the Grand Masquerade. This requires you to follow Windsor through Stormwind and protect him from harm until he reaches Stormwind Keep. Once Windsor reaches Stormwind Keep, there will be a little bit of story or lore in between Lady Presta and Bolvar. After that, Lady Presta's control over Bolvar will be subdued, then he will ask you to restore the power in the Dragon's Eye he gives you. This requires you to go to Winterspring in a very hard to find confusing cave, the cave of Mazthoril. You'll have to follow the cave until you hit a big room. Search the room while avoiding the mobs for a blue rune on the floor. This will take you to Halle. It's a weird name. The quest objective. She will empower the Dragon's Eye and ask you to go to Upper Blackrock Spire to retrieve the blood of the Black Dragon Champion. The final boss of Upper Blackrock Spire, General Dragithshath. Weird name. Once you have collected the blood of the Dragon Champion, you must return to Haleth in the Winterspring and go back through the cave of Mazthoril till you reach the rune. Step on the rune and return right next to Haleth to complete the quest and you return to Onyxia's lair. You will get a necklace once completing the quest. You must keep this necklace in your bags for the whole time, including all the way, pretty much keep it in your bags or your bank all the way up until Wrath, because it changes in Wrath. But if you're actually going into Oni, you need to keep the necklace in your bags permanently. Or, as it's quite a good spellcaster or healing necklace, you can wear it. And that is it for Oni.
So, ZG, or Zul'Gurub, is essentially a raid that fits in between BlackWing Lair, Onyxia, and MC. So it has gear that goes from MC sort of standard sort of 66 to sort of Onyxia, BlackWing Lair sort of 71, 76 kind of thing. I'm not too sure, as I'm not a big fan of it. MC and Onyxia give a decent amount of gear, so I'm not a massive fan of ZG, and I just dislike the whole trolls thing. But yeah, it doesn't require any attunement. You can just hop straight in, and it's in the northern right side of Stranglethorn Vale. So if you're low level, well, just watch out on raid on Saturday and Friday nights. Raid night for most people. Anyway, not much to talk about ZG. That's essentially it. Now, onto BlackWing Lair. So, BlackWing Lair is the tier 2 of WoW. So this is stuff that essentially is better than MC, and better than Onyxia, and better than obviously ZG, but not as good as Ahn'Qiraj and Naxxramas. BlackWing Lair is Nefarian's raid, essentially. So the end game, the last boss is Nefarian. To get attuned with this, it's quite complicated. It's not as complicated as Onyxia though, so don't worry. To get attuned, you have to go into Upper Blackrock Spire and then take a right and go down that tunnel. There's a few elite mobs, sort of 54, 57 kind of sort of level, 7k health, so they're a bit tricky if you've not started raiding, or if you've not got raid gear or any decent dungeon gear. So I'd take a friend, maybe group up in a 5-man, just to make it a little bit simpler, and so you can all get attuned at the same time. You have to follow that tunnel down, right? And if you look all the way down to the end, you'll see a little orb of command. It's kind of like a green orb on a stand with wings, essentially. You click on it and nothing happens, and that's saying you aren't attuned. It usually says teleport me into BlackWing Lair if you are attuned. So before that, there is a little tunnel down, and there's a little mob in there. He's a orc war master or whatever. He drops a little note called Blackhand's command. Currently on Ascension you can do it even though it's not out yet, so I recommend getting attuned before it's actually dropped. Makes things a hell of a lot easier when you're actually doing it. Once you've killed that mob, you get a note and you have to jump into Upper Blackrock Spire. You enter Upper Blackrock Spire, which is essentially just back down that tunnel and walk straight in. There's a portal, it's fine. So up the stairs, back from where you came from, back into the little balcony, and then walk through that portal. Upper Blackrock Spire can be really fast. It's essentially a mini raid, so it's kind of like Zul'Gurub. It's like a 10-man, 15-man raid. Big dungeon, essentially. It's a very tricky dungeon, if you want to think about it that way. If you're well geared, you can do a 5-man. It's easy. You get this Blackhand's command from the Scar Shield Quartermaster. Kill him, and he'll drop a letter, essentially, Blackhand's command, which starts the quest, Blackhand's command. So you want to enter Upper Blackrock Spire or Herbs, and make your way to the end boss, General Dragithshath. Or Drak. I just call him Drak. It's Drakithash. I can't speak it. And there is a blue orb behind him. So once you kill him, or you can do it while you're killing him if you're melee, but do it before. Remember to do it like after you kill him, and don't like portal out and go, oh shit, I didn't. So you click the orb and essentially we get you attuned. And that's essentially it. Very fast, very simple and easy to do, but the problem is you've got to go through Upper Blackrock Spire. And seeing as though all the raids are out, Herbs isn't the most popular way to do things now. It's not the best way to get gear or gold. It's not very efficient and productive, so not many people run it. But if you can find a group, that's fine. And if you are in the guild I'm in on Ascension, probably drunk, I am perfectly fine with taking you through when that drops to essentially get tuned, because it's pretty simple, to be honest. It's not too tricky. You don't need 15 like you did at the beginning, and it's not much of a push. This attunement doesn't give you a physical item like Onyxia, like the necklace. It's just like MC, you have a quest, you get to. Now this is probably the most difficult raid in my opinion ever released, because it's the only one that's available now on Legion that I have still not done. I can't get past the first boss. You're probably thinking, oh, you're so shit. I just don't understand the mechanic for the first boss. I don't understand it, so hopefully after doing an Ascension I will understand and know what to do. But there are always videos online so you can go do it. It's not hard to find, you know, it's pretty simple. Now onto Ahn'Qiraj. Ahn'Qiraj is essentially a stepping stone between tier 2 and tier 3, so it's tier 2.5, and it's more known as tier 2.5 other than any other tier. So this is probably the most popular raid in vanilla WoW, because a lot of people remember it being really tricky, but also really fun, very themed and very aesthetically based around old gods and that sort of experience. To get attuned with it, it's not an individual thing, and it's not like a party thing. It's not like any of this. This is something that does not happen today. So to get attuned, you have to do a thing called a war event, which essentially is a realm-wide push to get enough resources, enough stuff to open the gates of Ahn'Qiraj. Ahn'Qiraj and get in. Now, Ahn'Qiraj is split up into two sections, the Gates of Ahn'Qiraj and the Temple. I think it's the Temple, it's either the Temple or just Ahn'Qiraj itself. I've not dropped in a long time. To get Attuned, it's just a massive realm push to get there as fast as possible. Now, obviously, the faster you get there, the faster you can do it, and the faster you can get world first, or Ascension first if you're doing it on Ascension. I'm saving up certain bits of like mats and essentially push to get fast attunement for it, because apparently you get, I'm not sure if it's on Ascension, but you get a legendary mount for being the first to click the gong, I think, and it's the only bug thing that can be used outside of the actual raid, because it's the first raid that has raid specific mounts that you can only use in that actual raid. So it's pretty cool, but to get to it, it's not, you have to do a dungeon, you don't have to do another, like a small raid like Copy Blackrock Spire, you just have to, as a round push, you just all push for the goal of getting the resources. It's a pain. I've never experienced it, but it's probably a massive freaking pain. So yeah, and that's essentially it. Now, onto my favourite and most wanted to do raid, Naxxramas Original. Okay guys, so this is the final raid, and the raid that I've always most wanted to do. This is Naxxramas. This is tier 3 content and the final raid of vanilla content. It's also in Wrath of the Lich King, but we'll ignore that. And it's series 2. So, to get attuned with Naxxramas, it can be it's a pretty big grind, because you're essentially grinding rep. To get attuned with Naxxramas, which the final boss is Kel'Thuzad, which is pretty cool, you have to do a massive rep grind. Argent Dawn is in Eastern Plaguelands, and Naxxramas is based in Eastern Plaguelands. Now, on Ascension, I couldn't find exactly where. You may be seeing a video, maybe seeing some content of where it should be, but it's not. So I'll put a link down below so you guys can go see it, what it actually should look like. And obviously, if it changes on Ascension, I will do another video talking about where it is and what you have to do to get attuned again. Have like an update, because it's not currently what it should be. It's not what it should be. The little things aren't there. To get attuned with Naxxramas, you have to speak with an Archmage, Angela dos Santos, okay, in the chapel at Lights Oak. Right, so Lights Oak Chapel in Eastern Plaguelands. You know the bit where the Lich King tried to destroy with Tyrion? Yeah, that bit. And depending on your reputation with Argent Dawn, it will require you a different number of items and gold. But if you're exalted, it's completely free. So no gold, no Nexus crystals, no arcane crystals, no righteous orbs, no nothing. It's just instantly free. It takes a while to gain that rep though. I recommend now trying and pushing to get exalted rep with Argent Dawn. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing a lot of Argent Dawn based things whenever I've got free time on my main, which is Onyxia, what you're saying, because of that exact reason. I need to get to exalted to get essentially free attunement, because I haven't got the money to buy arcane crystals, Nexus crystals, or a righteous orb. And if you're honoured, it costs 5 arcane crystals, 2 Nexus crystals, and 1 righteous orb, and then 60 gold on top of that to get attuned. Revered is a little bit cheaper, essentially half as cheap, so no righteous orb, only 1 Nexus crystal, only 2 arcane crystals, and 30 gold. But exalted is free. I'd say before BlackWing Lair drops, or even Ahn'Qiraj, push to get Argent Dawn rep to exalted, or at least revered and close, because then you can just run through Straths or something, or you can just grind some undead mobs in Eastern Plaguelands and get some rep. The raid on Ascension that I just want to do, because it's the only raid that I haven't done that is no longer available. It's the one raid that I've always wanted to do but never had the chance. And that is essentially it for this video. Remember to hit like, subscribe and share, and if you want for Black Temple and BC content, comment down below and I'll try and make one. I'm not too sure what the raids are like for attunement, as I know that Wrath of the Lich King basically got rid of attunement. There's only going to be 2 videos for this series. Hopefully it'll be helpful, and if you're watching from World of Warcraft Classic, ignore the fact it's approached Ascension. Please, it's a good server. Please no. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, thanks for coming by, and thanks for subscribing if you did, and thanks for liking if you did too. And remember, this is always up and available, and remember to grind out that AD rep, grind out that Molten Core rep too. I didn't mention it, but it's helpful to get ragged down. Remember to grind that rep and grind some gold if you're not going to grind rep. Thanks for watching guys, I'll see you another time. Goodbye!